All right, let's take a quick walk around the 65 Corvair mid-engine V8 swap that I call MonZora, my Grassroots Motorsports $2,000 challenge car for 2023 and beyond. Starting at the front, it's got a 94 Corvette radiator and cooling fan assembly controlled by the 94 Corvette ECU. It's a bottom feeder. I really didn't want to cut the body in any ways. I wanted to be as sleeper as possible. So built a little aluminum scoop underneath the front fascia to collect air for the radiator. 94 Corvette front suspension. You can peek in here and you can see the aluminum upper control arm and bushing shaft. It's also got aluminum lowers, aluminum knuckles, aluminum calipers, rack and pinion. You can see right there the rack is depowered, so it's just looped there. Adapted the Corvette I shaft to the Corvair steering column. Pressurized coolant bottle there because the radiator doesn't have its own filler, and I needed a way to fill the system, so using that bottle was an easy way to do it. Front wheels are 17 by 8.5. These are the Corvette option, C5 option magnesium wheels. I was able to find a set really cheap on Facebook Marketplace, and so I scooped them up. Moving on to the interior. Built a center console out of 3/4 inch square tube, which is skinned and hides fuel lines, brake lines, clutch hydraulic line. Also is going to be plumbed with high pressure air from the kick panel vent on the passenger side, which you can barely see there because there's not much light. I'm going to plumb that vent right into the front of the console, and that feeds air. It's hollow all the way back, and it feeds air into the engine compartment. As you can see, the engine compartment, which is what used to be in the back seat area, is stuffed full of 1994 Corvette LT1, still on the Corvette's engine controller. Stripped the wiring harness down from that car to make it basically stand alone. Everything is turnkey. There's no toggle switches, no push buttons. It all works off the key. Turn the key on. I got the USB port, or the OBD port right there, prominently in the center of the dash, so I can plug in the laptop for tuning and data logging, and everything's turnkey, like I said. The shifter and shift cables are from a Porsche Boxster, so that was the longest cable mid-engine rear drive setup I could think of that was also reasonably priced. Modified the brackets on the rear where they attach to the transmission, and made my own linkage to be able to select the gears. So the transmission is a 6-speed manual Audi O1X. It's pretty similar to the Porsche Boxster transaxle, except that the shifter shaft enters from the side instead of a 4-aft arrangement like it would have been in the Porsche. So how to make a bell crank for the left side that changes the direction of the cable travel. When the cable pushes, it makes the bottom link move forward. That's what rotates the gear selector to choose from 1 to 2. On this side, I got a bell crank, which takes the 4-aft motion of the cable and translates it into a side-to-side motion here, which is what selects the reverse gate versus the 1-2 gate versus the 3-4 gate versus the 5-6 gate. Again, like I said, 6-speed manual. The engine controller is mounted right there. It seems to get plenty of airflow. It doesn't get too hot, even though it's only 7-8 inches away from the exhaust pipes. The exhaust pipes, well, you can't see the headers that I built, but scavenged a couple of junk sets of small block Chevy headers and cut them up, salvaged the bends and some of the straight sections, and built equal length tri-Y headers. Then I also scavenged a bunch of exhaust pipe, bought up some random bends from a guy also on Facebook Marketplace. Was able to make this groovy X pipe here. And the mufflers are from a C5 Corvette. Cut the outlets off and shortened them by 1.5 inches here so that they could package in between the pinch welds on the quarter panels, and put the tips all nicely spaced in the center of the rear exhaust grill. Battery is still in the stock location. Fabricated a little quick and dirty hold down with some 3/8 all thread rod and a piece of 1.5" angle iron. What else? Oh yeah, what else indeed. The rear suspension and frame section are out of a C5 Corvette. Narrowed 5 inches, cut a whack right out of the center of it, and had a buddy welded up. So that gave me aluminum upper and lower control arms, a toe link, good dampers. I'm still using the Corvette transverse leaf, the C5 spring in the rear, and of course the C4 spring in the front because it's all stock C4 up there. Fabricated the trans mount and the engine mounts and the engine cross member. Another buddy of mine helped with the splicing of the axle shafts. Boy, I wish I had more light under here. Sorry about that. It's Audi A4 inner joint because it's a transaxle out of an A4, and the C5 outer joint to match up with the C5 wheel bearing. So cut, sleeved, welded. So far so good. I have another plan for version 2 if these half shafts don't stand up to the power of the mighty LT1. The engine does have the LT4 hot cam kit in it. I stuck that in while I had it out for cleaning, because that's what you do when you have engines out for cleaning. You put cams in them, big cams. And I guess that's about it. This video is a lot longer than I expected it to be. But yeah, Grassroots Motorsports, check it out.